Uh, yeah, our discussion this week coming out of Portland was, I felt like the first half was one of our poorer halves of the year. I felt like in Portland that that we just were very careless with the ball against a team that's very good in the transition. Uh, and we were forcing things, we were impatient, jamming things into dangerous areas, and we just got ourselves on the wrong side of that game pretty fast, and it was we tried to dig ourselves out and we didn't. That game's history, and so tonight it was. You turn around in only a couple days, and so it's there's only so much you can really get through. But some of it was trying to find our balance between being patient and inviting teams to come defend us and then play forward versus just forcing games into teams that sometimes are sitting in a little lower block, losing the balls in the middle of the field, and then teams coming at us. So there was a little bit of, again, finding the right tempo inside the game, choosing to play the game in the right spot. I thought even in the first half we were not so, at the beginning of the game, I don't think we were finding the right solutions early in the game, and then as we started to get a little closer together, then the ball started to move a little faster. They started to want to close us down, and then spaces that we wanted to attack into started to open up a little bit more. I thought we were very, I don't know if I would say careless or carefree in some of our attacking actions that probably should have finished. And in the first half, where we make an extra pass that maybe we don't need, and we need to be a little more selfish. Sometimes we don't execute on the pass, but I felt like we left a lot on the table over the course of the night that keeps an opponent in the game, and it makes the game tough. So I mean, we got through it tonight, and always the third game in a busy week. You gotta do what you gotta do in some ways. But for us, again, a lot of the discussion is trying to continue to set like championship type of behaviors. I think when we're talking about closing out games, when you have a goal lead or a 2-goal lead, making sure that we're making championship decisions, because we're going to have to when it really gets down to it. And I think we need to be thinking about that way now. And sometimes we cheat the defensive moment, we wait for the transition, and then we score, and so it looks like it's okay, but it's not okay. So those are things we've got to tighten up.
And you talked about being selfish. Is that personality in this group? It seems to be a group that always looks for that extra pass when you're close. Is that mentality in someone?
Yeah. I think so. Sometimes it's not a bad thing. Sometimes I think the unselfishness is that we're trying to make a more perfect moment to finish. And I think there was a couple guys who had chances, and I know who they were. It doesn't matter but we have a chance to take a little bit of a risk at top speed because the ball is there, and then we take a touch to try to make it a little more cleaner, a little more perfect. The defender recovers, the goalkeeper gets set, things like that happen. And sometimes the chance doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to take it at speed, and the goalkeeper's not ready, the defenders can't recover, and good things work out for you. So I think, look, we still scored 4 goals tonight, but we're talking about some things we left on the table, which is how many, I think, good attacks and promising attacks we had through the course of the night as well. So, the frustrating piece is we gave up 2 goals in ways that we knew they would attack, which is just hanging up these balls at the back post and things like that, we didn't deal with them in the way we need to. But again, third game in 7 days, 3 points, put ourselves even farther ahead now or reestablish our distance. I think if I heard correctly in the West, I'm not upset with it. I'm just really trying to focus us in on that concept of like, it's not just about tonight, it's about championship behaviors and decisions and actions. Because we love to attack, you see that.
Hey, Greg, in that unselfishness, maybe one too many passes, it seemed that Marco really wants to lay it off rather than take it to goal. Is that something that you guys have discussed, or is that something you would discuss?
He makes his decisions on the field. I mean, he's a top player, so he goes with what he feels is the best solution in the moment. There's probably 1 or 2 in there I would have liked to see him go for it, But I also think that's who he is a bit as a player. He plays for his teammates. He plays a very unselfish, team-oriented game, and I think he takes some joy in setting up his teammates and watching them score. So, I think he'll find his balance, and as things go, I think he'll be fine with all that. I'm not too concerned about him.
Emiro in the middle, in what ways does that, in your mind, change the back line? How does that make you guys a better back line?
Well, you saw what we've been talking about with him. His just physical quality is just so good. I mean, his quickness, speed, his strength in the duel, but also just how quickly he can recover to things, and sometimes even when balls are kind of hanging out there and they're sort of second balls, how quickly he pounces on those second balls, and what might become something just doesn't. He just cleaned it up. So I was really happy for him tonight, because he's really had a hard time getting to full fitness with little setbacks, with different things that have gone on as he's been settling in. So for him to get his first 90 minutes, I think, since he's arrived, not just for us, but like even with the second team, everything, tonight was his first 90 minutes, and I thought he looked very, without stating, comfortable in many ways, and I was happy with his decisions on the ball, and I was happy with with his defending efforts. So I was really pleased that he's going to help us. We need him to step up, because he does bring something different to our back group.
Hi, Coach. My name is Max. I'm with the German media.
Max.
Do you have any update on Marco's medical condition? It looked like he had to be subbed off because he was injured.
Yeah,
also-
he don't know exactly. He said that he was starting to feel something, and he didn't want to keep pushing it, and so whatever. Hopefully, he's just started feeling tight again. It's the third game this week. He didn't play a ton in the midweek game, but third game, hopefully he just started to feel himself tighten up a little bit, and it's nothing that these next 10 days can't recover from. So we'll see. I don't know exactly. So I know that he was talking with everybody in there. So
What do you make of his game until his substitution?
yeah, I think smart, clever. Again, how he's kind of finding pockets and passing lanes underneath and in between the midfield line and the back line. He's intelligent about his movements. There's times where, again, they play a back three, so he just makes a darting run through the middle of these two. It narrows them up, and then now we're putting Gabe on the ball again. Just he's out there, and he's playing the game against kind of the opposition and working against them, which is fun to watch, because he's such a smart player, soft feet. Very good in his decisions. I think sometimes when we get going really fast and this, it's not so suitable for him all the time. I think when we can be, again, a little more controlled and choose the right moments to transition fast, but not let the game just get end to end like some MLS games can get, because I don't think that's going to be in his favor sometimes. But I can't say enough about how much of a team guy he is, and how he's just kind of fit into this group and helped the other guys.
Hey, Greg, I know at this time of the year there's a lot of scoreboard watching with everything that's going on, but this game ended up being really significant for you guys in terms of the other results. Were you guys, I'm sure you saw the LAFC result beforehand, but were you also at halftime looking at the RSL game?
No, I was no, because I was too focused on trying to organize a few things from the first half to the second half, so I didn't even think to take a look. I don't know if anyone did, but I was just told as I was walking here that it ended 3-3 in Salt Lake. So that's great for us, because I any cushion we will take at this point, because it's going to be we have 2 on the road, obviously, and 1 at home, so we've got a tough finish in the season, and we'll take anything that we can get to try to finish on top. So I think that's big. You can see, like, there's, at this time of year, some teams are just fighting for their lives. Some teams are, in good spots. Some teams are not in good spots. You want to just try to keep it as smooth as possible down the stretch. So.
Hey, Greg, congratulations on the victory. I'm going to read this right here with Joseph Paintsill's goal today. The LA Galaxy become the first team in MLS history with 4 players who have scored 10 goals in the same season. Your reaction to that stat? And also, did you think that was possible in year 1 of this project?
I as we started to put the team together and looking at the characteristics of the group, I'm not totally surprised, and when the group hits form and starts hitting speed, I think that capacity, and as you said, some of the unselfish nature of the group at times in actions, I think it bodes well for us, because if you have multiple game winners, guys who can get it done, that's hard to defend against. If it's one guy, then you can organize that a little bit. If it's multiple guys, it's really tough to defend against. I still think the group is continuing to in some ways just scratched the surface of their relationships, and adding a guy like Marco in who can also create great situations for others and for himself. Guys like Diego, who's had a great season. Like we still have a lot of guys, whether they're those four guys or others, who can impact a game, which is fantastic. But yeah, we've got a lot of attacking quality in the group, which I think makes the games entertaining. And too many of them are 4-2 though. I'd prefer if they were 4-0.
Hey, Greg, congratulations on the win tonight. You've already hit your best points total here as Galaxy coach, but if the Galaxy wins out, they will be tied for historical best points total all time as well. How do you feel to be potentially in that historical category with, some of the championship teams of Galaxy past? Thank you.
Yeah, I got a lot of credit to our guys, because when we haven't had great games and got bad results, we've bounced back quickly. I think that's important for our group, and showing some resiliency after, every single time we've had a loss this year, we've come back with a win. And that says a lot, because momentum is so important. What does that mean for us? Ultimately, I think it's great. I think, again, it shows that we've had consistency throughout the season. But I think the measure for our group is going to be, the capacity to compete in the playoffs, to show that maturity, and to keep trying to build to that legacy for this group. And it's not just the regular season. Not to minimize it, because I think it's big. But I think it's also us learning as a group how that we can become a championship type of team. Some of those teams won championships. And so that's the next step for us is, as I said, is graduating from being a good in-season team to now taking that step to being a championship type of team. And that's what we're really pushing for here as we get down the stretch. And even some of these games, our decisions are some of our actions, just making sure that that's how we're setting our behaviors as we get to this final stretch. So.
Hi, Greg. It seemed like you were in total control of this game. And when the team conceded, it felt like perhaps they weren't doing that, what you're talking about, developing that championship winning mentality. Do you think there's a fine line between cockiness and confidence?
For sure. Yeah, I definitely think so. I think sometimes we just make defensive mistakes. I felt like we have done our fair share of making defensive mistakes in situations that we should be able to deal with duels better, deal with situations better. Sometimes I think we get so comfortable in our ability to attack and go create chances and go score goals, and we love that part of the game, that when the game feels like we're in total control and that there's goals out there for us, that we start thinking about how we can get those goals and not necessarily how we close this out and make sure that we give up nothing, or if it's one, we give up one. But sometimes I think at times we trade defending for the opportunity to go attack again, and that's what I'm talking about, because when you get into playoff games, knockout games, again, the teams that win championships are the teams that can put zeros up or give away not very much, things like that. And so I just want us to continue to push and challenge ourselves to stay focused on that side of things and commit to that side of things, because I know the other side of it, we're gonna create opportunities and we're gonna find our chances to score goals. So it's finding a balance, because certainly because of the way we can attack, it puts the opposition on their heels as well. But we've just got to make sure that we stay stingy about protecting our goal at all times.
Hey, Coach. Congratulations on the win. When players often come to MLS, they kind of struggle to adapt, whether that's the physicality or the travel or whatever. We saw that maybe first few games with Gabriel Peck, but he has turned into an incredible player. What have you seen with him adapting and how well he's adapted? And do you see him as a candidate for the Newcomer of the Year award this season?
Yeah, when Gabriel first came, what he was used to being is a guy who stays on the sideline. The team gets him the ball, and he goes one-on-one against the opposition. And what we've tried to encourage him to do is not just be on the line, but how to stay connected to the team, find the ball in different areas, get himself more touches, more involved, and to work in partnerships and relationships with other guys, and not just be a one-on-one guy on the wing, but how to when this guy clears a space, boom, you're coming inside. If the fullback's coming around you, you're taking up a more narrow position so that we can find you here or there. And I think because he's continued to adapt with that, he's starting to get more, he's gotten a lot more touches. He's gotten touches in better positions. He's now in 2 versus 1 situations instead of always in 1 versus 1 situations, which is even better for him. So I think he's just, again, I think he has continued to evolve, which is what I had hoped. You know, he can still go one-on-one, but he's added more options to his game, in my opinion, because he's now working within a system and working with other guys to create more scenarios where he can continue to be dangerous. So, you know, if I add one thing that I still want him to continue to do is to execute at top speed. Sometimes he gets himself into really good positions and he decelerates a little bit because he's trying to hit the perfect finish instead of staying at top speed and trusting his technique and finishing at top speed so things don't get blocked, and he puts a little more power in some of these things. And these are nuances that as he gets them, he's going to be so difficult to deal with, which he already is. Can he be newcomer of the year? Sure. I think he's I think he's evolved since he's been here, and he's certainly been very influential for our team, and it's had a very good season. And usually those things are what come together. You know, your team has to play well, and your team has to be successful, and then you have to have a player who is impactful. And when you can do that, then you put yourself in that conversation for sure. Yep.
Congratulations, coach.
Thank you.
You have 2 Japanese players, and tonight opponent,
Yeah.
Whitecaps has goalkeeper as Japanese guy.
Sure.
So how do you feel about his play? How do you feel about that?
Which one? The goalkeeper? or-
Goalkeeper, Japanese goalkeeper, Whitecaps.
Yeah, I've seen him play a lot. He's a very athletic goalkeeper. He moves around the box. He's smart. He made a save on Mickey, which I know Mickey took offense to. But he's a very good goalkeeper, very good soccer player. He's intelligent. Again, the way he's athletic, he covers the goal, great angles. You know, the other thing is he's very competent with his feet. You know, they don't build out of a lot of situations, but I know I've seen him. He's very comfortable with the ball at his feet, and he also hits the ball a long way. And so I like his game. I think the Japanese players come here, and they're very suited to our league once they can adapt to some of the physicality and some of the pieces that are maybe a little different. But technically and game intelligence, I think especially for teams who play similar to our team, I think the Japanese players really fit into what it is we try to do. So very happy with our guys. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Greg.
All right, thanks.